welcome to The Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UKOCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for The Swift Half.
You're listening to the 40th most popular podcast, as listened to by both people who enjoyed the film adaptation of the musical Cats.
Ian, my friend, welcome to the Swift Half again. How are you?
I'm good, Alan, and to all our listeners, happy Christmas Eve. I think I've got that right. Just 3 more sleeps till the big day.
You are completely confused me already. Not that it takes much of this. Well, can we tell our listeners how late we're actually recording? This is over an hour later than what we normally record.
Really is late. Listener, if you're listening to this on Friday, we recorded this at 4 a.m. this very morning, so it gets straight in your ears. Can you believe it? You know, probably the closest we've ever recorded, because basically we got chatting, and you know when we usually record on a Wednesday, we went all the way through Thursday. I might have got fired from my job, by the way, Alan. We need to check that. We recorded went all the way through Thursday, and here we are, 4 a.m. Friday morning.
4 a.m. Friday morning, we're recording, Ian. What about the patrons who'll get this early, though? They might not
will know.
It.
They'll be fine. They know we do time travel.
I like the time travel bit.
You've got the DeLorean. Remember, as part of moving into this new house, you've got a DeLorean in the back garden.
You know, I wish I had a DeLorean in the back garden. I'd love to go buy an house somewhere or buy an old small building and find something really weird and wonderful. I was reading something on social media the other day about a guy in Turkey who saw a chicken run down a little hole in his garden. So he dug this hole to see where his chicken had gone, and he found a whole underground city years ago. And I'm like, why can't I find anything like that in Barnsley?
I'm not quite sure, actually. Maybe because Barnsley, they never built on top of it, I guess. Or maybe you just don't have enough chickens in Barnsley.
That's right. We probably don't have enough chicken. I know a chicken joke. Do you want to hear my chicken joke?
Go on, but I don't think the listener will, but carry on.
If I've got one chicken in my left hand, Ian, and one chicken in my right hand, Ian, how many chickens have I got?
One chicken in your left hand, one in your right. I don't have enough data to go off because I don't know how many you got stuffed in your pants because you're from Barnsley.
That's the idea. Yes, I've got 3 in my garden, so I've got 5.
Oh, God. Oh, dear.
That's a dad joke.
It is. I think my favourite chicken joke is, why did the ostrich cross the road?
I've no idea. Why did the ostrich cross the road?
It was the chicken's day off.
Yeah, that's us cancelled. I'm telling people we're going to get cancelled now, Ian. Before we start any more jokes, Ian, what are you drinking tonight?
In line with our new sponsorship, again, I agreed that Prime could sponsor us.
Yeah.
Of course, they've yet to agree, but I've agreed that they could sponsor us. Today on a lemonade, I've probably not learnt from last week where I almost lost the enamel on my teeth. It's less sweet, is what I'll say. So on the Richter scale of, I don't know, salt to, oh my God, my teeth are melting, it's just warming the teeth up, the amount of sweetness.
Well, yeah, it's Prime. It's just an expensive, colourful bottle that's done by marketing. So yeah, it's lemon juice. It's good, Ian. It's good.
I wonder if we ended up with a situation that I'm the marketer's dream.
Yeah, that would be the thing. You've been converted now. You're the marketer's dream instead of me.
I should confirm I'm still a tight person from Lancashire. Morrison's now offer them in the Morrison's meal deal, and that's where that came from.
Is it the most expensive drink you can get in Morrison's then, in the meal deal?
It is. I think it's the most expensive you can. And that reminds me, Joanne Garner Boys and a few other people. No, it was Kevin Calder, wasn't it? In the podcast pub, which is available to Patreons and people who have helped us out.
Yeah.
Mentioned about this Facebook group called, I think it's Dull Men's Facebook. Have you been on it yet?
I haven't. No, I haven't. I haven't had a chance to have a look at it, but I am going to go on it. I have seen it.
someone posted in it that they saved £3.15 on a £3.50 Tesco meal deal.
So, is this the one where you buy the Red Bull? Because the Red Bull is like super expensive, isn't it? It's like a large kind of Red Bull, which I think is £3 anyway.
I think what they went for is we went for a naked smoothie, which we often do.
Yeah.
They went for a sandwich that was, I think, £3 whatever on its own, and they went for Tony's chocolate.
Oh, so yeah, £6 odd for £3.50.
Yeah, basically 6.65, and that got it down. So yeah, if you haven't already, we're not sponsored by it at all. In fact, we're not sponsored by many people, but Dolman's Facebook group definitely worth a watch. So thank you, Kevin Calder, for that, and also for Joanne, who keeps sharing stuff as well. Alan, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm saving money, but because mine's my 50 pence can of alcohol free. It's Big Drop Brewing Company Paradiso Citrus IPA, alcohol free, 0.5%. Live tasting in. So and just then as I opened it in, it just exploded onto my table. It's a good job my computer's nice and far away from where I was drinking. So now I've only got part of a can, and it's very fizzy. So yeah, but it tastes all right. It tastes lemony as well.
I've just realised, quick apology corner. I said the wrong surname for Joanne. It's, of course, Joanne C.S. Smith. So sorry about that, Joanne. I know you don't listen to the show anyway, but just in case you do or someone shares it with you, I completely got your name wrong earlier. I used to work with the other Joanne about 15 years ago. Alan, this is happening to me more and more. I think I'm getting old because my memory is going. And do you know the thing about you walk into the kitchen and you can't remember why?
All the time. I do that all the time.
I now open at work internet tabs, getting ready to search for something, and I forget why I've opened the internet tab. So I close it and then open it up again.
I, I wouldn't say I'm like that, but I'm actually keeping a to-do list now. I've never kept a to-do list in my life. But I'm forgetting that much stuff. I'm like, not forgetting, but there's that much stuff going on. I get distracted. So I'm doing one thing, and then someone asks me something, I end up doing something else and something else. And yeah, it's the world now. The world is running at such a fast pace, we just can't keep up with it, us old codgers like me and you.
Speaking of fast pace, something literally popped up in the bottom of my screen then from Amazon saying Royal Mail struggled to deliver your package, which terrifies me because I'm currently staring at the one package I ordered from Amazon, which arrived earlier today. So have I ordered something else, forgotten about it, and they struggle to deliver it?
These packages I don't get. I got a present that I bought for Paula, and the package came, and it wasn't due to arrive. It wasn't due to arrive till Christmas, till the 25th of this month. So I thought it's not going to arrive until Christmas Eve or even after Christmas. And then 3 days ago, a package arrives, and I just happened to open it in front of her, thinking, "Oh, what's this I've been sent?" Thinking it might have been something nice, someone sent me something. Oh, it was her present, and she saw it all. So I've given her an early Christmas present away quite early, haven't I?
Well, yeah, that's nice of you, Bob. That means you need to buy something else.
Thanks, Ian. Just go spending my money if I ain't got enough reasons to spend it. Shall we try and crack on with this show a little bit?
Yeah, let's move on to the reason people actually listen, which isn't our mundane lives. It's usually due to OCR and hybrid fitness racing and all that. So, Alan, what's on the notes first and foremost?
First and foremost, Ian, we are going to. There's a bit of I want to say an elephant, but there's some breaking news come out today. We have shared it on our website, on our new website. We've shared it on our new website. We've shared it on social media. But Belgium Obstacle Course Racing Association, Ronnie, I want to get this right, Offenheim has sent out a letter today, an open letter. So we've shared it on our website, Ian, and it's about the recent FISO World Championships. Have you happened to have a quick look at it yet? I'm hoping you have.
The letter, yes. I was thinking Do we read this, or is it way too long to read, or should we just pick out some highlights?
I think we're going to pick out some highlights because it is far too long to read. Basically, what he's done for listeners, if you've not been over, you need to go and overread it. But he's given an open letter to all the athletes that attended, and it's a little bit of he understands it wasn't perfect, that there were failings, and he's addressed those failings in here, and he's sort of said why there were failings. So Ronnie Offenboom, thank you, and I reached out to him and spoke to him myself today as well. Asked him a few questions myself, and I put those on here as well. We're going to be open and honest, and I've actually reached out to FISO and asked them for their take on it. I haven't quite had anything back from them, but when I do, I'll update it as well. But what I'm reading here is that Ian Adamson, because there's quite a lot of the president's quotes on here, he sort of passed a little bit of the blame back to Bokra on certain things, and he's not taking any responsibility. I mean, one of the quotes, I'm going to read one of the quotes, because this is one thing that I really, it just got to me. He's put, marshals and technical officials should not be paid any money. We should provide them with meals and transport and a T-shirt. After all, they are volunteers.
You know what? I think that is a healthy attitude to have, because I presume that Ian Adamson got there completely on his own dime, did not claim a penny of expenses, not a single penny. I'm sure because of how much he loves the sport, he flew all the way over to America on his own dime. What do you reckon, Alan?
Well, in another quote, he said, I decide what happens, and the reason is because I am the president. So whatever he did, and he did it because he's the president. So he might have gone on his own time because he's the president. Then again, he might have charged expenses to somewhere because he's the president.
Reading it, Alan, I was thinking this. The snapshot listener is as follows. To enter the event, you had to enter via FISO. So all the cash effectively went to FISO, although it didn't have its own bank account. So there's some weird situation where the Belgium OCR actually had to set them up a account, and then it got paid somewhere. So all the money went to FISO, as I'm reading.
Yeah,
Alan,
that's how I'm reading it, yeah.
Unfortunately, all the expenses went to Belgium OCR.
Yes, and this, I mean, I reached out to Ronnie, and I straight up asked the question, who is footing the bill for event losses then? And he's put, well, I think currently they've got a little bit of the money, because when the money runs out, which actually is the case, BOCRA will have to explain this in court, and the remaining funds will be seized. Obviously, bankruptcy is the only outcome. So in theory, FISO could be causing Bokra to go bankrupt.
And we probably should skip back a little bit right to the top of this letter and explain Belgium OCR kind of save FISO from a bind here, because in theory, the 2023 world champs should have been in Cuba, but they should have been in
Costa
Cuba.
Rica.
Costa Rica, beg your pardon. Sorry, Costa Ricans, sorry, Cubans. It was because someone suggested to me earlier that that perhaps Ian Adamson believed he'd overtaken Fidel Castro, so Cuba was in my head. But anyway, what should have happened is before Costa Rica 2023, there should have been other events. I think Russia was one of them, and probably somewhere else. And they could have ironed out all these things and then gone to Costa Rica. They couldn't. Costa Rica doesn't have a massive OCR scene. So the Belgium OCR guys basically stuck their hand up and said, we can organise you a race. We can do our best. We'll happily do it. And they're happy for them to do it. But it doesn't sound like the project was managed at all. And it sounds like you had this horrible halfway house, in that the best possible thing that could have happened is FISO says to Belgium OCR, you guys run it. Here's the money. Just put our label on it. The end. But it seems like you had this horrible halfway house where the Belgian OCR were trying to run a little bit, but then FISO kept coming up and saying, oh no, I want to do it this way. I want to do it that way. I want to do it this way. and didn't actually project manage it at all. They just wanted to be in charge of teeny tiny bits or major bits, but not have that overall vision. Alan, fair?
I think that's actually fair. I think that's exactly how it reads to me. This letter, that Belgium Obstacle Course Racing Association tried to I guess save the World Championships and put it on, but they weren't given control of doing it, and the FISO, the self-proclaimed world governing body, intervened. You know, when I say intervened, I mean, has Ian Adamson ever put an event on? I don't know. That's a good question, actually. I never asked that question when I sent him a list of questions.
I believe he's badged up a few races. I'm not completely sure if he's ever put on a independent event. And there's nothing wrong with working in collaboration. British Obstacle Sports worked in collaboration with Spartan to put on the British Obstacle Sports Championships. And that seemed to work, although it was probably a little bit different because they put it on an event weekend. Spartan was already happening and we kind of piggybacked. And perhaps that's what World OCR should have done, is looked at an existing race and piggybacked on the back of it.
Yeah. And I guess in some ways they tried to get 2 or 3 races together and piggyback on 2 or 3 races, but no one's been the races weren't in charge. That's what I'm reading into it in. I'm reading into it that the races weren't in charge. In the end of the day, it was down to FISO. However, when it comes to the bills, because of local agreements, that's down to BOCRA and Ronnie.
Again, reading it, it sounds like, unfortunately. Alan, did you ever watch The Simpsons?
I watched a little bit of them, yeah. Marge and Bart and that, yeah.
This may make sense to you, or it might not. There's an early episode of The Simpsons where they're recording a movie in Springfield, A Radioactive Man.
Right.
And throughout the episode, the running joke is various members of town are gouging this Hollywood production for money. You know, it ends with it being bankrupt, the production. Sorry, spoiler alerts, but it's a 25-year-old show. You'll get over it. But it ends with them bankrupting it. And as they're about to leave, the mayor pops up and says, "Oh, there's a $5,000 leaving town tax." And I get this feeling that all these people who were suppliers or who were helping, I think they got in their head that this was a world championships, so they could charge what they could get away with. And there was then no one checking the books, keeping a cost, a tab on costs, and basically saying, look, you said you'd hire us those obstacles for whatever. You're now saying it's X because of this as well. It's like IKEA charging you whatever IKEA charge you for a Billy bookcase, but not mentioning that they're also sending around someone to put it up. And by the way, you have to put them up in a hotel around the corner.
Yeah, it does feel very much like that. I hope BOCRA don't go bankrupt. I hope some way, shape or form, things get turned around. I don't know how, because if FISO don't have a bank account, and that's what Ronnie's saying here, that they don't have no bank accounts, I don't know how they're funding themselves in that way then. But if they don't have a bank account, I don't know how they can bail BOCRA out in any way, shape or form. But in theory, they should. In my opinion, it was a joint thing, and there should be joint responsibility for all costs. If someone's going to make the profit, then they should pick up the losses.
No, exactly, Alan. And they should have run this event knowing that there was going to be losses. And if you cannot withstand those losses, you shouldn't put on the event, or you should have put it on a shoestring. Because I was thinking of this, Alan. I was thinking of the UKOCR Awards. In our first UKOCR Awards, it was a shoestring. It was me and you in front of a laptop recording it, putting it up on YouTube. The next year, we had that event on, which was fabulous. And we'd made sure that I think we made a small loss on it, but we made sure that our maximum exposure was what UKOCR as a quote unquote company could withstand.
Yeah, yeah. And this year, hopefully, I'd like to make £200 profit to get that loss back. But if we don't, we don't.
Exactly. But this is me and you who do this for a hobby,
Yes.
and we know the basics of making sure your exposure is finite, whereas these people who have apparently appointed themselves kings of OCR don't understand that basic thing of business, and they've somehow convinced another governing body to integrate them. This just boggles the mind, Alan. How?
It does. I don't get it at all, Ian. I don't get it. It's the teaming up with UIPM, the merging, whatever he wants to call it, merge, whatever they're doing, and this, whatever it is. Do UIPM really know what they're letting themselves in for?
I've no idea. I don't know what he said to them. We don't know how that's gonna go. We obviously kind of know-ish how it's gonna go from a UK. We've already previously been told, as we're recording this, our previous advice is that British obstacle is going to exist in some form because that's what the Constitution says. We don't know what that means for Belgium. Like in Belgium, this is a harsh reality. Does Ian Adamson care about Bokra? Because I presume Belgium have a pentathlon national governing body, which they can just say, "Oh, you're in charge of obstacle now."
Interesting. That is really interesting. That part.
And that's the thing. We've no clue what's because we still don't know. We know at the top level there's this integration. We don't know what's going to happen feeding down. It's just frustrating that it sounds like lots of people got trodden on, including our friends, Alan. A couple of days ago, this is public, but Matt Kirk a couple of days ago posted on the Facebook page that we posted up to that quote you just said about, they're volunteers, so they get meals, a shirt, and whatever, saying they couldn't even sort that out. So Pfizer have not even achieved the minimum what they set out to, and now have seemed to parachuted into a seat at the table of a established world governing body. Alan, make it make sense. Please make it make sense.
I wish I could. I wish I could. He must have the gift of the gab, Ian Adamson. He must have the gift of the gab to get where he is, because I don't know. Things are just not right. It reminds me of, like, I want to say a swan where on the top it's all graceful, underneath everyone's paddling like crazy to stay afloat. I don't think, and I do think it's that, but he's letting people underneath him sink, I guess. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. He's letting people underneath him sink.
You're right. I'm going to give you another Simpsons reference. We're having a Simpsons reference heavy day. I reckon he sold monorails to Ogdenville and North Haverbrook.
What we're like. Shall we move on a little? Because we could talk about this all night. Let's let our listeners read the article, let them make their own mind up. Leave a comment. There's a comment box on the bottom. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, just let us know, and we'll probably discuss this again next week. But let's talk about happy topics, because hopefully some of our 17 listeners are still listening and or have just gone through that. So, Alan, give me a happy topic. It's Christmas time. Cheer me up.
I'm going to give you an happy topic. Sarah Perry, this week has become the first runner ever to complete the 125-mile Lakeland Way up in the Lake District. So 125 miles, Ian. It's not like it's a good run, you know. I mean, it's a good fair distance, but this is 22,000 feet of ascent.
22,000 feet.
Yeah, 22,000 feet. It took her 41 hours and 25 minutes. And she was supported by friends throughout. She puts on there, but 125 miles, amazing feat, amazing feat with 22,500 feet, amazing achievement to do that. But the 22,500 feet, that's massive.
And did she do it in a pair of Innovates?
She actually did, yes. You are quite right, Ian. She did, because I have got this off the Innovate website. She did it in, which actually doesn't say what shoes she wore, but she wore the Performance Hybrid jacket, adding, given the conditions, it was all about layering up in an attempt to stay warm and dry, and this new jacket was perfect, either as an outer layer or tucked under a waterproof. I don't think she said that. I think someone at Innovate said that.
I would agree, Alan. I would agree. So, Alan, that was more like it. Give me another happy story.
I've got one that's absolutely amazing, Ian. I'm going to put it to my employers that we actually bring this in. So, the Mild Black Mirror episode, this is a book, a paper company based in Guangdong, yeah, this is in China, Guangdong in China, are basing their bonuses on the number of miles that employees run each month. So, if you to earn 130% of your monthly salary, if you run 62 miles per month, yeah, they're going to get 130% of your salary, doubling your salary plus a little bit extra for running 62 miles. It's only 2 miles a day.
How many miles again?
62 miles a month.
62 miles a month. There's got to be a catch. Like, do they have to do it barefoot? Do they have to? Is it very hilly near them?
No, it's literally, it says to earn 130% bonus, you must rack up 62 miles per month. You can get less ones. So if you're able to run 31 miles, you'll get 1 month's salary that year. If you manage, if you do it for 31 months, though, you're also rewarded with a free pair of running shoes. So,
free pair of running shoes.
Yeah. It's just amazing. I love it.
This has inspired me, Alan. This has inspired me. I know what we should do.
Go on.
We should offer this same perk to Who's Hot.
Have you seen how far that Becky runs?
I think I will happily give them 130% of what we currently pay them.
Okay.
For doing 62 miles a month.
Well, let's make it a little bit easier for them. We'll just round to straight up 60 miles a month.
60 for 130% of what we currently pay them.
Yeah, but don't forget we doubled the wages last month as well.
We did. What is 130% of zero?
I think that's 0.
Awesome. We're still safe. We're still safe. There we go.
We're still in the budget.
We're still within our very limited budget. See, going back to the thing at the start of the show, we can budget. This is why World Obstacle Ninja is going to overtake Pfizer.
That's another made-up company that's going to overtake the world.
Yes, it is. Right. Sorry, we drifted back onto unhappy topics. So give me another happy topic if we got any left.
Well, I have got one left, right? I have got one left, and it's a world record attempt. So I want to give the credit to someone on this, but I don't know what to give the credit for because I can't go back into the messages to find it. But I was sent this today. Now, this is a young lad up in Scotland, and he is going to attempt to break a world record. So he's going to try and attempt to break the world record of Ron Hill. I think it was Ron Hill, who actually ran every day for 52 years. I want to say 52 years and 39 days. And 11-year-old Seb Jellema has started on this. So he's going to try and run every day and is going to be 62-year-old when he breaks this world record.
Would it not be easier for him just to develop his own line of sportswear? Seems like a lesser time commitment.
I think it would. Seb, you need to design some sportswear. Hats off to him, though. Yeah, hats off to him. You know, he's going to try and break a world record, but will it happen? He's 11-year-old. You know, he's already done. I think he's doing quite a while now. He's done them while he's been on school holidays and ski trips and things like that. But we're talking when he gets to 16 and he's 17, and then the work commitments and everything else like that. You know, is it possible? Is it possible to run every day for 52 years. Ron Hill did it, but he had his own business. So he didn't have to be there like, I guess in the early days, he might have been like crack of dawn till end of night, but then later on in life, he didn't have to. Ooh, I think it's a big ask.
I think it is. And plus, you've got to remember that in 30 years, running will probably be illegal anyway by our AI machine overlords.
Yeah, the AI machine's gonna take over. I got offered today, you know, the UKOCR group, the Facebook group. There's a
Yeah.
thing cropped up and it said, "Do you want AI to run this group?"
So they're basically offering intelligence to run the group.
Yeah, I said no. I said we've never had no intelligence from this group for a long time. We're not going to start now. I didn't know, Tony. Tony, don't shout at me.
Yeah, it's the artificial part we don't like. We like actual intelligence.
Yeah, I don't want Richard and Tony shouting at me. No, yeah, but I thought it was quite funny that AI could potentially run a Facebook group that I wouldn't know how they would run it because they'd have to take it comments from what people leave.
AI is remarkable, but also remarkably bad. My favorite AI story, and I think I shared this in one of our group chats, Alan, was the story about someone who went to an employment tribunal. And in law, for those of you who don't know, one of the big things about law is this ability to give what's called precedent cases. So the cases that are very similar to what happened to you, and you prove because of this, the same thing should happen. So it's very important to find things that fall in your favor. So this employment tribunal, a person who was representing themselves presented 8 cases which completely backed up everything that they were trying to prove.
Yep.
You're probably ahead of me with a punchline here, listener, but let me finish. All 8 of them were completely made up by the artificial intelligence bot that they had approached. One of them was very similar with different names to a case that was a real case. Unfortunately, that real case was actually overturned on appeal, and the AI had based its advice on the unappealed judgment, which now doesn't stand. Just to give you an idea of how serious this was, they were very, very lucky that they got an understanding judge because, in theory, presenting false cases to court is contempt of court. They could have faced jail because of this, Alan.
Yeah, I know. It's serious. It's very serious, Ian. And but AI's taking over. It's like the thing with Google. You put anything in Google, you can virtually find out any fact. But is it fact? Just because it's written in Google, is it actually fact? Like AI, it makes it up.
I don't know. I read somewhere that Ian Adamson was in charge of obstacle racing across the world. And that to me, based on his history, sounds completely made up. So I am putting ChatGPT on notice that we're onto you. You can't get us with fake facts like that.
You're going to keep circling around to topic 1, aren't you? Every chance you get tonight.
Maybe. Okay, a completely non-OCR fact for you, Alan.
Go on.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Yes.
Did you know?
Very shiny nose.
They did indeed. Did you know they were female?
Yeah, all the reindeers were females, weren't they?
They were. I only found that out this week that Rudolph and all of the reindeers were female. So
Blitzen,
if you got
Dancer. Can you name them?
Blitzen, Dancer, Prancer, Sleepy, Dopey, Sneezy, Doc.
You've got them all here.
Thought so. There we go.
You know who's going to tell us what all the names are, don't you?
Who's going to tell us?
Martin Gemmell. I'll guarantee it. Before we even finish recording, he's messaged me and told me what all the names are.
Well, given how long it's taken to get through the back catalogue, and when he's probably listening to this, Martin, while you're doing this, Easter Bunny. What's the Easter Bunny's real name?
What's the Easter Bunny's real name? Oh, let's move on. I've got one more bit of really good news for you. You can't go back to to quick point one on this one. I'm sure you can't.
You can.
Congratulations and celebrations to Julie Brown. She has won the British Obstacle Sports Ultimate Season Pass.
Awesome. Does it get your entry into Costa Rica?
Well, it could do. It could do. I don't know. It gets you into virtually a lot of races, a lot of prizes, everything else. So big well done to Julie there on winning that. I watched it live. The third year it's been run, the first woman to win it. So which I think is great.
Which is good, which in theory, based on the general way this kind of thing works, surely it should be a female again next year to get that 50-50 split.
I think it should, yeah. I think it should.
Oh, it's random chance. It could be anyone.
Yeah. I watched the Darren Brown episode once of can you roll sixes in a row, with the dice. And it showed you the video in rolling 6 sixes in a row from start to finish. What it didn't show you was the 395th other attempts where he didn't make it. And it did make me laugh that, yeah, it is possible, but not straight off in one go, or it could be.
That is really interesting. It's like that whole monkeys typing on a typewriter, isn't it? That if you get a thousand monkeys typing at random, eventually you get the work of Shakespeare with enough time. I love things like that. I heard an interesting fact about dice.
Go on.
It was that some dice, the fancy dice where they've got holes where the numbers are, so it's concaved a little bit.
Yes.
On one of them, only slightly, but you are more likely to roll a 1 than a 6.
Because of the weight on the opposite side?
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah. I've read that the chances are very, very minute.
It's very small, but there's enough to make a difference given enough. So I bet you Darren Brown rolled 6 1s in a row faster than he rolled 6 6s.
Yeah. I actually read somewhere once that some casinos years and years ago used to actually drill the holes even deeper on certain numbers to try and avoid people rolling. Is it snake eyes when they've got to roll 7 or something? I don't know what it is. It's 7 and 11, is it? Something like that.
Snake eyes is double 1.
All right. So what's the craps when they roll? Is it 7 and 11? I don't know. I've never played craps, but they used to drill holes in them to make it harder to roll the winning dice. So yeah.
Yeah, we are like the worst people to ask about gambling and casinos. So let's move on, Alan. Here's another Christmas fact for you.
Go on.
Would you believe? Actually, I'll ask it as a question. What state in America do you think was the first one to recognize Christmas?
First state in America. I'm going to say New York.
That's a good guess because you think they celebrate it a lot. You have the Macy's parade and all that.
Yeah.
Not New York. Do you want another guess?
California. I'm going to go opposite end, California.
Actually, California wasn't around. It was 1836 when this happened. So California wasn't around.
Go on then. Tell me. Tell me which one it was.
It was, I guess, landlord state. It was Alabama.
Oh, wow.
So
is there a reason behind it? Why they did it first, or is it just a known fact?
It's a known fact. Let me see if it gives you any more information about it. No, it says Alabama, which is the home of Sophia, was the first state to officially recognize Christmas. Oklahoma was the last in 1907, which I find peculiar because I'd have thought it would have been anywhere else other than Oklahoma.
Does it actually say in what you've just read, the home state of Sophia? Because you just
did. Yeah, I was reading it word for word. It says Alabama, the home state of Sophia, was the first state to officially recognize Christmas.
Yeah, that's amazing. That I like that. Well done, Sophia, getting your name. Is that Wikipedia?
It's actually DallyCityNews.net.
There we go. There we go. Absolutely amazing. While we're on the talking about Sophia, is she going to go to Infinity in Alula to do the pit station for Hannah? I'm
going to keep this a happy show, but no, she's not going to. Anyone who knows Sophia will know why, but I'm not going to say why on air, but I'll just say she disagrees with some of the cultural positions in that area of the world, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, you're happy with that, but no, she's not going to sadly be be pitting there. But there are loads of people. Did you see Obstacle Racing Media released a list of people?
I did. And there's some amazing athletes going, but no British. I can't
Not
see a
yet.
British flag.
Well, we know one person is.
Tell me who that is?
Dassos. If you remember, we mentioned that last week, but
Oh,
Dassos
yes.
announced he was going.
Yes. But how come he's not on the list then? That's a bit strange.
Maybe he's done a deal with Matt B. Davis to keep his name off the list so that other than people who listen to the show, no one will see him coming when he sneaks past all of them.
Yes, could well be. It is a who's who's going though, isn't it? They're all wanting a little bit of that prize money, aren't they?
It's a massive prize pot. Although, trying not to be negative, but I'm going to have to a little bit, Alan. I was reading an article about, you know how in Saudi Arabia football has become massive.
It's massive. It's huge, and it's spreading into. They're going everywhere with it,
They really are. There's one problem.
and that is
No one's watching it.
I don't think that's true because I have seen that wherever Messi goes, that everyone seems to go and watch him, but they're not bothered about watching anyone else.
Yeah, except Messi, if I remember, is in Miami, I think.
Is he in Miami now? Didn't he go to
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia?
Cristiano Ronaldo, you're thinking of.
Oh, Ronaldo went. That's it. Yeah, yeah. I knew one of them did. His ones are packed out then.
Yeah, and that's the issue. They like playing FIFA. They like watching YouTube clips of Ronaldo doing stuff, and they'll go and watch him. But for I don't know, the equivalent of Bolton Wanderers playing Blackburn Rovers on a dull Tuesday night, they don't care. There's hardly anyone, and they'll buzz people in who will leave at halftime because they just don't have that natural appetite for watching it.
Yeah, yeah. I get that. I get that. So
And
go on.
I was going to say, and that brings me to this, in that it is amazing, all this money being on the line, all these people are going to experience Tough Mudder in Saudi, but is it actually going to put down roots?
Well, it's not, is it? It's sports washing. We know it's sports washing. I mean, but an $500,000 prize fund, it's going to attract some of the best OCR athletes. It wouldn't surprise me if he attracted a few other athletes, if I'm going to be honest, out there that might fancy the chances. I mean, it does surprise me some athletes. I see Leon Kofed going. We know he's not an ultra runner. He specialises in short course. Do you potentially think that they're actually paying these athletes to go? I haven't reached out to any, so I'm just asking the question. Do you think?
I believe some athletes are getting expenses paid for. I'm not sure if any are getting stipends to actually go, if that makes sense. So and it's not exactly a secret. Lots of people know this. I believe that some are getting accommodation paid for. Many are having to cover their own flights, which is expensive in and of itself. But yeah, there is a little bit of expenses being paid. But it sounds amazing. But I can't help but think maybe it's just my way of thinking. Would that money have been better spent putting a lot into promotion to build up the local interest?
Yeah, yeah. As in get a lot of people there to watch it, bust people out. I agree with that. Yeah, that would be. Maybe they might do that as well. Ian.
Maybe it might, and we don't know. With prize money, it may have stipulations on it anyway. It might be coming from sponsors who only want it. We've seen this before. Sponsors only want their money to be used to pay athletes because they can then get a horse saying I don't know, the prime sponsored Tough Mudder Infinity paid out $10,000 or whatever it is. So
what they should have done? My opinion is made the prize money $400,000 and paid $100,000 to Eurosport to film it, because that would have been much, much more appealing. That attracted much more sponsors. I know the Saudis have got money to throw away, or maybe even just throwing $100,000 at it. But can you imagine getting it on TV, even if it was just Eurosport or whatever? That would have been amazing for everyone, and we would have loved that. The Saudis would have loved it because it's getting their folks out there again. I think they're missing a trick there by not doing that.
I'd agree, and we don't know yet what footage there will be. Matt's obviously out there for Obstacle Racing Meet, and it's going to be an amazing event. So don't take this as me being hypercritical of the event. I think it's going to be an amazing event. If I could get out there, I would, because it sounds like a once in a lifetime. And I guess it's just one of them priorities. And we never know, Alan. This could kickstart something really special over there. It's just history is against them, because we've seen a lot of races pop up, offer a lot of money, lots of athletes turn up, and then next year there's not as much money, and guess what? Not as many athletes.
It really is a who's who of obstacle course racing, though, when you look at the list who's going.
It is, and yeah, I am. I looked at the face around about 1,000 to 1,500 to get out there, and surprisingly, not that quick. I think there was like a silly layover. It was like a 16-hour. I could possibly drive there from Manchester quicker than it would take me to fly.
Oh, how good would that be? Road trip.
Maybe that's what we do. Maybe you still got a caravan. Let's take the caravan over.
Let's take the caravan. Yeah.
We'll be like Max and Paddy.
Before we go, we broke some news a couple of weeks ago, and Facebook's only just caught up with us, Ian.
What's this news?
Spartan and Tough Mudder are charging for photos. We broke this several weeks ago.
We did, and you're going to tell me that Facebook was all for it because they saw everything right and all the advantages of them taking. I can't even finish the sentence. Go on, Alan. Tell me how Facebook reacted.
As Facebook's going to react when people find out they're going to have to pay £30 for photos. They've gone absolutely balmy. They have gone crazy about it. And, you know, I have seen one person put this message on. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to name and shame anyone, but it's not naming and shaming. But they've said at Tough Mudder, you tend to see the same photos: Arctic Enema, Everest, Electric Shock, yeah? And you go to Spartan, it's very similar, it's the same obstacles. And I thought, I get that. So does that mean if I pay my money for the Midlands and I'm going to get my photos, am I going to get the same photos at Yorkshire? And in theory, yes, you are, guys and girls. So if you're going to purchase photos, you know, don't do what I will only purchase one. I will purchase one, and that was it. If I think, but then again, I might not purchase any. But just be mindful, you potentially might get the same photos over and over again.
You might do, and it's a good point. But what I think you will see is a lot more photographers on course, and I do think, at least initially, we're probably going to see a variety of pictures because there are so many photogenic moments, particularly in Tough Mudder. I'm thinking things like Well Swung, or maybe, Alan, can you imagine some of the photos you could get on, what's it called again? The one at the end. I always want to call it Giant Wedgie because that's what it was. Mudderhorn. There we go. Mudderhorn. Having a tog in that structure, taking pictures of you as you climb up it.
They're amazing pictures. We had Harley do that, if you remember, a couple of years ago at ETM, and he took some amazing pictures from inside, looking up at athletes going up. If they get the people on site, so if they can double or triple the photographers on site, it's going to be worth it, Ian. I've got 100%. It will be worth it because you're going to get a lot of pictures. What I do like about their pictures is that you literally, and I don't know if you've done this, Ian, recently, but you take a selfie of yourself, then it finds all the pictures of you. I do like that. I've got to admit, I really like that. So a bit of innovation like that, if they can then go and get more photos, absolutely brilliant. Because I did miss ETM. I only found 3 photos of me at ETM, and I know I had lots taken. I was smiling at them all and things like that. So yeah, more photos is always good.
And that's the other thing we'll find, Alan, with Sportograph, because they do this at High Rocks, because they do the High Rocks. Any picture they take of you is going to be uploaded So you're going to end up with probably 60-ish pictures. Don't sue me if you don't get 60-ish pictures. Quite a few are going to be duplicates, but you'll be able to scroll through them and find the one that you want. The only thing, and my heart sank when I saw this, and they were talking, I can't remember the exact words, but talking about they're going to be touched up, so they're ready to go. I'm concerned that they're going to put a filter on like they do at High Rocks. You know, the filter that they put on that makes you look like a Greek god?
Yeah, they're going to put a filter on all of Tough Mudders and Spartans going forward.
Yeah, and I'm not sure it'll work.
Filters in the future. Filters are the future, Ian.
Is that what you've got on now? How many filters you got on?
I've got everyone to try and make me look younger, Ian.
Thought so. You look 55, not a day older than 55, Alan. Them filters are doing the jobs.
Thanks, Ian. Much appreciated. I'm absolutely loving your banter tonight.
I'm fired, aren't I? Just checking.
Ian, I couldn't fire you. I couldn't fire you. I actually I was in another podcast this week. Comes out in a few weeks, I think. Accountability Corner. I jumped on that.
Oh, before you get into that, they scared me because I was looking at UKOCR earlier because that's where we get a lot of our stories.
Yeah.
And it said, I'll read it out. This was Chris Shipley, a good friend of the show. Let me just read out what he wrote. Accountability Corner obstacle series comes to an end. And I thought, oh my God, we've killed the podcast. And then I realized you'd been on it, so we couldn't have. So I thought about it a bit more and realized they were just doing a limited series looking at obstacles. And in this one, they were briefly touched on running and created what they thought was a well-balanced course. So, Chris, you scared me to death, but I'm glad you're still going.
Yeah. It's the new Christmas episode is going to be really, really good, Ian. They're having virtually every podcast in the UK. So every podcast from the UK is going in, apart from you. You didn't get the invite because you were my sidekick. They said they didn't really say that. You were too busy doing your bits to attend. But I break some news on it. So I'm telling people now. I break some news on there for next year's UKOCR series, and I'm not going to break it on our channel for another couple of weeks.
Alan, you can tell me now. It's fine.
No, Ian. There might be one person listening, so I'm not going to do it. Everyone else has switched off, but there might still be that one person listening right now.
It might be. Do you want to finish off with some more Christmas facts?
Give me another Christmas fact that we can finish off with.
Okay, let's have a happy one. Did you know? Actually, I'm going to give you a fact, and then I'm going to Google UK facts. So these are all American facts. 3 billion Christmas cards are sent in the USA each year.
So that's how many trees would that be?
Way too many.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, something happened to me at work, actually. I got a little note through saying someone had underpaid on postage, and it was a Christmas card. And to release it, they hadn't underpaid. They've just sent a new stamp without the barcode. So they'd used an old stamp.
Oh, right, yeah.
And to release it would cost me £2.50. The card's not even worth that.
There could be a £5 note inside it.
There's not. They reached out to me and told me that they'd put an old stamp on it and to ignore it.
Love it. Love it. Return to sender.
Return to sender. Absolutely, yeah. Do you put a return address?
Have I ever told you what I used to do once years ago? Do you remember a gentleman called Frank Abagnale? Does it ring a bell?
Yes.
So he was a massive counterfeiter in America, based on the film Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. And I once met him, and I asked him what his biggest ever fraud was, and he told me. And I actually did it for quite a few years afterwards, and it was sending letters. So you put a letter in the box, and in the envelope, in the window or the front of the envelope, you'll put your address on, and on the back of it, you'll put the address you want to go to, but you wouldn't put a stamp on it. And then they always get returned to sender. So it goes back to the address that is on the back of it, whereas the address you wanted to go to.
Oh my God, that is such a devious scam.
Oh, I hope no one at the post office is listening. I might owe them some money.
Maybe a little bit. Okay, here is a England fact for you. England's first recorded Christmas celebration was in York in 1068.
So 2 years after, what was 1066? Was that the Battle of Hastings?
Battle of Hastings, and 2 years before we started recording this very episode.
Oh. Yeah, there we go. That's a wonderful fact for you. For everyone to finish the show on, that's the best fact ever.
Right. Okay, Alan, have we got anything else to go through?
There's nothing on my list here. No. Is there anything on yours?
Nope. I think we're all good. Right, and on that, I'm gonna say Merry Christmas, one and all, and it's a goodbye from me.
And everyone who's out there, this is going to be your last episode before Christmas, and we are having a break on Monday's episodes, so you will only get the swift half between Christmas and New Year. There's no episode coming out on Christmas Day or New Year's Day, boys and girls. Having a little break, but we'll be back in the new year with all the episodes that we do normally. In the meantime, have a great Christmas. You stay safe. We'll speak to you all soon. Bye.